want to talk a little bit about the shift that changed everything. Now, the truth is, for the longest time, I've been reading books, I've been gaining knowledge, I've been, finding out perfect techniques to do X, Y, Z, or, to achieve my goals. And the truth is, it's not an information issue, right? Like the information is out there. The information to get in shape is out there. The information is probably already in your mind. You probably already know what it takes to achieve your goals, right? And so if it's not an information issue, then what is going on? Like, why are people still not achieving the things that they want to achieve in life? Why are people still in the same position that they were years ago? It's in your ability to apply yourself. And that's literally all it comes down to. Because the truth is, I'm probably just as knowledgeable as I was, a few months ago, or in terms of what I need to do to move the needle. But the only difference now as to why my life is changing is because I made the decision to apply myself. I have applied myself in having this childlike faith almost. Like, to be able to just read something off of pages, believe it to be true, and just act on it. And to shorten that time between when I learn something versus when I execute. And that was the biggest frame shift ever, right? And it kind of sparked when I read the book Discipline Equals Freedom. It's like, okay, well, when do you actually start building discipline, right? When do you actually start increasing your capacity to get work done? Right here, right now, plain and simple. And you just take action, you just start executing on what needs to be executed on, and you are building that muscle in real time, right? In those instances where you do feel the resistance, use those as opportunities. And that's why the Bible tells us to glory in our sufferings, because those sufferings are opportunities for growth. A lot of people just need to reframe that. They're like, oh, it's struggle, it's difficult, I'm feeling resistance. Good. It's a great thing that you're feeling resistance, because when you persevere, you're going to come back or get through that situation even stronger. And so resistance is necessary for growth. You can't grow without resistance, right? I use this analogy all the time, but when you're in the gym, you are purposefully trying to have as much resistance on your body as possible to signal growth, right? In the same way, physically, spiritually, mentally, right? You want to face some resistance so that when you trudge through, when you persevere and do what is right instead, you're going to get a lot stronger. So when you're faced with the same temptation in the future, or faced with, the option to be weak in the future, you're going to be a lot more equipped. You're going to be a lot stronger. That muscle would have been built, and it would be easier to trudge through. So trust me, the beginning stages is always going to be the most difficult part of the process. The first amount of effort that it takes to just get the ball rolling is going to be the most difficult part. But once the ball is already rolling, it doesn't require as much effort to keep it rolling, right? But don't let that be an excuse to, be weak and then fall back into old patterns, right? You just need to keep the ball rolling at all costs, right? And so your life isn't going to change if you are gaining information and not applying yourself, right? Because the truth is, for the most part, people know what they need to do to get in shape. People know what they need to do to get in shape. Oh, if I want to lose weight, I should probably eat a little bit less. I should probably train more, right? It's not an information issue, right? And that's why online coaching is a thing, and that's why it's so important and prevalent, because the information isn't the issue. It is the implementation, it's the accountability, it's the things that go around that, right? How can someone just apply themselves, right? And that's the problem that they're solving for, which has been the biggest shift in terms of my transformation, right? Because the truth is, I wasn't always this disciplined, right? I wasn't always this hardworking, right? I was probably, one of the most distracted, lazy people, believe it or not, right? But the truth is, once you are able to just get through that first step, right? That first step where you just want to quit, where you just want to be weak, where you just want to lay in bed, and then you end up just doing it, that is signaling to your brain, wait a minute, maybe I am the type of person that does difficult things. Maybe I am the type of person who can do this, right? Every single action you take, and it's a body of work, it's built over time, but your actions need to be in alignment with your identity. right? Who you believe yourself to be needs to be in alignment with what you do, right? Because how is your subconscious mind going to take it as truth if you are saying this thing about yourself and yet you are completely acting contradictory to that, right? I believe that there's a Bible verse that really resonates with me, and it's like, no one pours new wine into old wineskins, otherwise the wineskins will burst. Nobody pours old wine into new wineskins, otherwise the wineskins will burst, right? And so the only way for the wineskins to be preserved is if new wine is poured into new wineskins, right? The wine representing actions and the wineskins representing your identity, right? So the only way to preserve it is to have your actions be in alignment with the identity that you hold true about yourself, right? And that's why it's super, super important to do these things, to just simply take action, right? To apply yourself. The second you learn something, I challenge you guys, the second you learn something, I want you to apply it straight away. Live with this childlike faith. If you think about when we were kids, right, and your parents just told you something, you just took it as the truth. You took it as a belief of like, okay, if my mom and dad says that this is the truth, if I don't brush my teeth, I'm going to get caterpillars, on my teeth, which may be true, who knows? Then I got to brush my teeth, right? In the same way, you have to put your ego to the side, and this is what it means to live by humility as well, right? To humble yourself, to know that you don't have everything figured out, but there is someone out there who does. There is someone out there with the information that you are seeking. So if you were to just humble yourself and, dive into that information, be like, okay, this person is in the position that I want to be in. He has the results that I want to have. Then I should probably listen to what he has to say, right? Because the bias in your mind, all that is ego. It's literally just your ego speaking. Every time you hear someone say something that can and will be beneficial if you apply it, but you just choose not to, it's literally your ego being like, oh yeah, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I know what's better. And I was literally in the book of Proverbs, right? It's not on this page, but essentially what it was is, the foolish, Proverbs is a book of wisdom versus foolishness. It gives you that distinction, right, between what it is to be wise and what it looks like to be foolish, right? To kind of differentiate the two. And, a foolish man would not heed instruction. They do not accept correction, right? They are asking for how to do X, Y, Z, how to get from point A to point B. And when they are given the information necessary, they just don't do anything about it, right? But the wise man accepts instruction. He heeds correction, right? So when someone tells them that this is the way and they have that result, right, then they will take action. I like to view life as a maze, right? And what kind of foolish man, if someone knows the way out of the maze, if someone knows how to get out of the maze right into the promise, and he's like, okay, follow me. The only thing that is causing the delay is your own ego. The only thing causing the delay is your own, I'm going to get there on my own. So when Jesus, right, tells you to go left, you choose to go right. And guess what? You run into a dead end. Life is a maze. Jesus knows the way to the promised land. He is guiding you, but all he is asking of you is to follow him, right? And so if you were to follow him, you would make it out of the maze into the promise a lot sooner, right? And as opposed to doing it on your own way, right? Living in disobedience and be like, nah, you say I'm going to go left, I'm going to go right. If you think about the Israelites, right? It took them 40 years to get to the promised land. What should have been like an 11-day journey took them 40 years. Why? Because of their own disobedience. And so it's not predestined for you to delay the blessing. Delay the blessing no longer. God has something beautiful in store for you. He has breakthrough. He has purpose. He has a calling that you've been called to live by and live into. And it just comes at the cost of following him and just trusting him and having the faith like that of a child. And that's why when Jesus is speaking, he says that, none will enter the kingdom of heaven unless you become like children, right? Children have this childlike faith where if they were to just hear something, they'd be like, okay, I'm going to do that, right? Straight away. But the thing is, when we grow older, it's like we develop this ego thinking that we have everything figured out. So I challenge you guys to just humble yourself. And when you do learn or take on a new piece of information, apply it straight away. And you'd be surprised. I mean, like, bro, if you were to just apply one of these principles, your life would change. How much more the rest of the word, right? And that comes through the work of the Holy Spirit, right? You can't do it on your own strength, but that's why we need to rely on something that is of infinite strength, right? So, yeah. Take the information that you learned in this video, uncut, nothing, right? Not even gonna edit this video, I'm just gonna post it, and apply it straight away. Apply yourself, and you will see big, meaningful, real change in your life.